Hi everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my video on how to detail, paint and weather a Stug III Ausf D. We're going to start this video off by looking at the world of super detailing. Now, you think with the kit as well detailed as Dragon that it's all been done for you, but there are always ways to enhance and to improve and to add any particular missing detail. Now, the Breech section that was supplied by Dragon was very good quality. The detailing is exemplary, but what we can do is just to add a few little things. As you can see here, I've replaced one of the moulded handles with my own made one, which looks a lot more realistic. On the top here, there was some missing plates and screw heads, so they've been added in. Also, you can see at the very back here, there was a missing screw plate, so that's been put in just using 0.5mm rivet with a screw top put on. As you can see, my breech is going to be open because I'm going to leave a shell in there for added interest for the viewer, so that means that this had to be repositioned in the open position. But other than that, a very nicely detailed breech, and I'm pleased with the way that's going so far. So the breech area and guard is now complete. As you can see, very nicely detailed by Dragon, so very little super detailing was required. I'll show you a still, but up here we just had to add on 4 0.4mm nuts from Master Club and a little bit of 2mm wire for the connecting switch. So that completes that little part. What we'll do now is start to build this whole area up. Just a quick mention about the telescopic sight. There's a small little PE plate that's gone on the back there to add a bit of detail. As you can see there, I mask my lenses as soon as I remember to do them, because I guaranteed as soon as I start the painting process I'll forget. So a little 0.8 bit of tammy tape disc has been put in to that lens, and the lens on the bottom don't really have to worry about, because one, it will keep falling off, and secondly, as and when the building is complete, it's just a matter of just sanding that back to reveal the clear part. Here we have the carriage for the barrel and the firing mechanism, and what I want to do is to illustrate an issue that all scratch builders have, which is when to apply detail if it's not going to be seen. Now, some people can't sleep at night knowing that they haven't done a particular detail, even though nobody can actually see it. And I can be like that at some point. However, if it's to the detriment of the actual piece itself, and it's not going to be seen, then it's better just to leave it as is. Now, this is prime example. If we were to take off the gun support, this particular area here in the middle, this should be all hollowed out, and there should be 3 supports there. Now, quite frankly, that's a lot of work. It will weaken the kit part, and as you can see here, that there's a supporting hole for the top parts as well. So in this particular instance, I will live with the fact that the braces aren't in there, for the fact that it will make life easier for putting the other kit parts together. However, there's still a lot of detail missing. Several nuts here. This end is the incorrect shape, so that can be altered, and also there's a large locking nut here that needs to be put in as well. So there's always areas to put the detailing. It's just a matter of common sense and your own desire to push the boundaries of how far you want to do detailing on your particular kit. So alterations and improvements have been made to the base of the gun mount. As you can see, there are several Meng nuts. These are 1.4mm, have been placed for added detail. At the front here, this area has been chiseled out to make it the correct shape, and also brackets on each side have been made as well. Because of the extra height now, a plate has been put here to create the balance, and when the top of the gun mounting goes on, you'll see a gap all the way around, which makes it correct, whereas opposed to the kit part where it would have been flush. A quick word on the seat. A little bit of extra detailing was added at the back there, 4 0.5mm pewter rivets. I've added a little bit of detailing with the back of a craft knife, and the seats have been roughened with a coarse sand stick. However, most of the detailing on the black leather will be done when we get to the painting stage. The adjustment wheel by the gun sight was completely incorrect, as you could see from the photo. So it was a matter of simply taking out the spokes and replacing the area with a solid piece of 0.5mm plastic card. The disc shape was 8mm across. As you can see, I carefully cut out the central part of the wheel, and I've left that by drilling a hole through the plastic card and replacing that, and that is now a lot more accurate than what the kit part was. When making modifications to kit parts, you have to be very careful. For example, this particular section here is completely incorrect and needs to be removed. However, if I was to remove that, it will weaken the structure and will cause fit issues when trying to place the parts back together again. So what the aim here will therefore be is to do slight alterations to the part and then to cover it up with the correct shape and form that should be there, but at the same time keeping the main strength and structure of the kit part underneath, so that it will carry on fitting together perfectly well. As you can see, the modifications are well underway here. I've been cutting back this particular section, which will obviously be duplicated on the other part. Now, to do that with a blade would take quite some time, so a good investment for any scratch builder is a drill. I actually use the Combo Micro Turbo, and the reason I like this particular one is because you can actually adjust the speed. Obviously you have the chuck here, which you can unscrew and place different types of sanding tools in, and there you go, that's on low speed, and then we can just turn it up quite easily to a higher speed depending on the type of work that you want to do. So there are obviously other makes out there like Dremel and others, so just find one that you feel that's going to suit your needs, but yeah, a must-have tool for any scratch builder. Other tools that are essential when making alteration to kit parts are files. These are the small needle style files, or you can get larger ones as well. All come in different shapes and sizes, which will help you get to difficult reach parts. And also I'd recommend buying some decent chisels, for these are very good at slicing square areas and of great use. So there we have a simple but effective way of adding detail and improving the look of the kit part, and at the same time making it accurate. The holes were quite simple. They were made with the eyelet maker, and they were 2mm and then sanded through. Again, just a 3mm disc and a 1.7mm Meng nut on top, and then turning that one around, we've just put a couple of bits of scrap 0.5mm plastic card on the back, and then we've made a little bracket there. I don't know how well you can see that, just using some scraps off the bench. So there we have it. The gun breech area is now complete, and it's looking quite fine. I'm very pleased with the way that's turned out. However, there is one last item that we need to do, which is to add a shell casing bag, I suppose you'd call it, just here, so when the cartridges come firing out, the spent cartridges come firing out of the breech here, they will come and settle down here in the canvas bag. So that's the next part of this build. So the spent shell casing basket is now complete. Very straightforward. It's just a matter of getting some foil. I use pie tin foil. Cut yourself out a section, as you saw in the stills. Glue to the bottom wire, which in this case was 0.4mm, and the top one is 0.7mm. And then it's up to you if you want to texture it, but yeah, very easy process and very effective look. So with the main gun area now pretty well much complete, we now need to turn our attention to the final large components before we start thinking about doing any super detailing. And the majority of those large components are going to be the ammo bins. Now the Stug carried 44 projectiles. There's an ammo rack that goes along the back here which contained 12. Then there was 3 ammo racks along the side here which carried 5 each, making 15. There's a large ammo rack here which carried 10. And we'll look at it later on, but there are 2 ammo racks in the ceiling which carried a further 9. So that should all add up to the 44. So that's the next stage of this particular build. So if we have a look at what the kit offers us, this is the ammo rack at the back. Quite a poor moulding for the top of the projectiles. Very poor moulding for the stick grenades. So all in all, this will be replaced with a scratch built replacement. The side ammo bins, these are the 3 that carry 5 in each. I'm quite happy to use that. There's nothing majorly wrong other than complete lack of detail, which I can quite easily add on later. So we'll stick with those. And then the final ammo bin, which goes at the back, that comes in 2 kit parts. Unfortunately, the moulding is incorrect for this. Basically what it was a hold shell, metal shell, and then the ammo bins were put inside. So this should really all just be one piece with lots of holes in. So I'll scratch build that particular part. Later in this tutorial, I will be looking at doing all the detailing on the ceiling, and that's when we'll have a look at the other two ammo bins. So as you can see from all the stills, I've just made a very basic structure for the back ammo bin rack, purely and simply to help make sure that it fits in correctly. As I've said before in the tutorials, make the components first, make sure everything fits in, and then do all the detailing on it afterwards. Basically what will happen here is that we'll have the brackets for the stick grenades to go in, and I've left a couple of holes there just for a little bit of interest, and then if it fits, I'll do the lid open, but if not, all that detailing may get covered up if I close up the lid. So that's that particular part. While we're looking at that, I'll just have a quick chat about the stick grenades. These are the ones from RP. So that's how the ammo rack at the back will finish looking once it's been super detailed. So that's now done. As I said before, the 3 ammo bins on the side, they're going to stay as they are for the minute. Once I'm happy everything fits, I'll super detail those. So all that leaves me to do now is to scratch build a replacement for the back ammo bin, which contains the final 10 projectiles. The ammo bins are now complete. As far as the one at the back here, there was no reference information at all about how it was connected to the hull. The only clue that I had was a couple of braces on a burnt out Stug, so that at least told me that it was secured to the side of the hull rather than the bottom. So I've just used a couple of pieces of square rod there. As I said before, I'll be keeping the kit parts for those particular ammo units there, and then obviously the ammo bin that we had seen earlier as well, that's in place here. Okay, so that's the 3 ammo bins. So this one here would contain 10, 3 lots of 5 makes the 15 up to 25, and then with these 12 here, that makes the 37, and then there'll be 2 hanging down from the ceiling, which will carry 4 and 3 shells, and obviously I'll show you how those are done when I do the ceiling part of the build. So with those components now done, we now need to look at the final parts that need to go in before we do the super detailing. So here there'll be the loader's chair, and here there'll be the commander's chair, and that's what we'll look at. So looking at the seats, we have a loader's seat that will need to go over here, and we also have a commander's seat that will go on the back panel here. However, Dragon only supply this particular seat, which they say has to go here. Now, one, that's completely the wrong place, and secondly, it's the wrong shape for the commander's seat. However, the kit does not provide a seat for the loader, and as luck would have it, that is the correct size and shape for the loader's seat. So I'll use that one on this side, and then I'll scratch build the commander's seat and support system here. So the loader's chair and the commander's chair are now complete. When you get into this sort of stage of the build, you've also got to consider the painting process and whether you're going to be able to effectively paint and do the weathering that you want to with all these pieces in place. So with the loader's chair, I've decided to leave that off, so that would be for ease of painting. The detailing side, it was just a couple of brackets there on the back with some little strips of plasticard, again using Slater's all sorted micro strips, and again that was used for the bracket on the whole wall, along with a couple of 0.8 Meng nuts as well. As you could see from the stills, the commander's chair was sculpted from a piece of 0.75 plasticard and then stuck onto a piece of 0.25 plasticard, cut around to give the edging effect. The ratchet handle, that's made from 0.5mm wire, and the seat support arm is made from 0.7mm wire. As you can see, the hole was filled up just with a little piece of plasticard. Now I don't like to do super detailing before the components are done, because for obvious reason it all starts to fall off. But in this particular case it had to be done because obviously the commander's chair was going to be put on top. But all we have is just a couple of little handles made from scraps and sanded into shape for the handles, a couple of little PE clamps from the spares drawer, and a couple of 0.5mm rivets. As you could see from the stills, this was easily sculpted from just a little bit of spring and again some offcuts of PE and a little 0.5mm styrene rod, and again the bracket that stops the seat going all the way to the floor was just made from scraps from the bench and 0.5mm rivets. Now the last thing on the commander's chair itself, this funnily enough was from the spares. This gives you a PE ratchet look, and is in fact I think it's an ammo belt from something, but certainly gives the impression of a ratchet system there. And as you can see, that's put in loose, again for ease of painting. Plus I still don't know how this top half's gonna fit together yet, so that will remain loose. So as far as the components go, for the middle section, that's now all complete. Now what we'll do is go around and do all the super detailing. The easiest way for me is just to do one panel at a time, and then once that's done, we can move on to the next part of the build. The more scratch building that you do, the more reliant you're going to come on making your own homemade jigs. This is predominantly for when you want to do repetitive work like lots of handles or brackets, etc. So for me on this particular case, I have to do lots of clasps here for the grenades on the ammo box. So what I've done, using an old jig, because once you've made them, always keep them handy because you never know when you're going to need them again. Here I have a piece of rod for curved brackets, and here I have a piece of square rod, obviously for square brackets. So I've made a load of metal strips, and then it's just a matter quite simply of placing it on top. Just like to share another quick tip. When scratch building, there's going to be times when you need to plug holes and fill in gaps. Try and put whatever the stopper is that you're using. In this particular case, it's a strip of 1mm plasticard, and just make it bigger than the actual hole itself. load it with glue. In this case I've used quick dry super glue, and then once it's solid, trim to shape, sand it back, and then you have a nicely plugged hole, rather than trying to cut the little slither and putting it in exactly from the start. As you can see from the stills, I've actually put some of the kit pieces in place now. First of all, the floor. This is very poor indeed. As you can see, it doesn't go up to the edge of the hull at all. So if you're following on, what I would recommend is if you get a PE photo etch set floor and put that in, and that will look a lot better. I made some plastic card struts there, just a simple process of putting the holes through. The ammo bins have been finished off using some PE spare hinges and some braces with 0.5 mil pewter rivets there. A little bit of detailing on the front as well, and the same again in the corner with those brackets. As you can see, all the nuts have been added using Meng nuts 0.8. The rear ammo rack is now in place. That was finished off with some holes and some spacers in there as well. I made the mistake of filling the air intake or hot air intake here, so that's been redone with a nice funnel shape on there using the pie tin foil. And a little bracket was left off the door, so that's been done as well. So I'm now going to call this part of the project done. In the next video we'll have a look at the ceiling section. Now with the ceiling section, we'll be looking at putting the radios in, those last couple of ammo bins, and we'll also look at detailing out the visor ports, as well as the pod here as well. So lots more to come. So it just leaves me to say thank you very much for your continued support of my work, and happy modelling.